Hey everyone! So, first of all, I just wanted to say it has now been 10 years, more than 10 years, since I started running this channel. I uploaded my first video on the 1st of October 2011. And while my oldest videos aren't around anymore, mostly for copyright reasons, because I wasn't muting the music back then, and Civilization 5 in particular was a massive copyright minefield. But it has been over 10 years now. And I know many of you have been around for a long time, sometimes like even since 2012 when I first started doing XCOM, for example. So I just wanted to say I really appreciate all of you who are still around, especially after the rough last few years. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about a little, address a bit of an elephant in the room, or even several elephants. No relation to humankind elephants. So, as some of you probably know, I've been streaming quite a bit on Twitch lately, especially in the last 5 days, yesterday excluded. I took a break yesterday. I streamed 45 hours of XCOM 2 Long War of the Chosen in 5 days. And that was probably some of the most fun I had in years, like literally in years. And yeah, I mean, there were some moments when I was confused or a little bit frustrated, but overall, I obviously wouldn't have played it that much if I didn't enjoy it. And I plan to play it more. Anyway, quite a few people asked me if I'm going to upload it to YouTube, and this is actually something I wanted to talk about a bit. Because a lot of that stream was basically learning Long War of the Chosen mechanics, because it's quite a bit different compared to base XCOM 2. Oh, and just as a side note for anyone who doesn't know, Long War of the Chosen is kind of a port of Long War 2. It's not by the original Long War devs, it's by an entirely different group of people. So it does have some tweaks, some rebalances, and it's basically ported into War of the Chosen. So, back to what I was saying. I have now done a lot of things wrong in my Twitch campaign, because, well, it's the first one I'm playing with Long War of the Chosen. That was to be expected. If I were to restart it right now, I would have played very, very differently. And my current campaign that I'm still continuing, like several in-game months in, at Force level 14, is probably already doomed. I mean, it might not be because I'm playing on Veteran, but I am at Force level 14 or maybe even 15, and I'm behind on so many things. However, that doesn't really matter because, like I said earlier, I think it's the most fun I had in months, even despite some of the frustrating mechanics, especially on the strategic layer. And why exactly am I saying all this? How is that relevant? Well, it's relevant because one of the reasons I've been having a lot of fun on Twitch is because when I'm streaming on Twitch, I'm doing whatever the fuck I want to do, pardon my French. So if I want to play something and learn, even though I might not be very good at it, I do that. If I want to reload because I don't want to restart from zero and waste, I don't know, 20 hours of the campaign, and then I also do that. If I want to play on lower difficulty, I do that. If I want to play some game I would not normally play, I also do that. And on YouTube, I feel like this is something I haven't been able to do for years now. Like, literally years. Because, you know, I do enjoy learning new games and figuring them out. That's been one of the big draws of strategy games for me for the past 25 years, basically. And on YouTube, there's always this vocal minority, a very vocal minority, that expects nothing short of absolute perfection. Even if the game you're playing was released literally today, heck, even if it wasn't even released at all, and you have, let's say, an early review build a week before release, they expect nothing short of perfection. And this is one of the reasons I haven't actually uploaded a lot of the Humankind streams, for example. Because one of the most consistent feedbacks I got for the past 10 years, and again, I assume this is from the vocal minority, but one of the most consistent feedbacks I got was that people don't want to watch me learn things. Ever. I mean, heck, I still get an occasional comment under my very first XCOM 1 playthrough from late 2012, where people complain about me doing things wrong. Even though I've done things like Army of 4 on Impossible. And even if I never played on Impossible, like, who the heck cares? But because I've done quite a few things that were very difficult in the past, especially many years ago in XCOM 1 and Civilization 5, I feel like this created this impossible to meet expectation, at least, again, among the vocal minority that often tends to express that expectation. And, you know, I'm probably going to state the obvious here, but the reason I'm good at Civilization and XCOM, for example, is because I sank thousands of hours into those games. Literally thousands of hours. I have close to 3,000 hours in Civilization 5, over 1,000 in Civ 6, around 1,000 in XCOM 1, and well over 1,000 in XCOM 2. And I obviously haven't always played them all on the level I play them today. I had to learn all this shit at some point, you know? My first Civilization 5 games on the channel were on King difficulty. I'm sure there are people who still remember that. Like, for example, my Inca game, I'm not sure if it's still out there or not, where I won the game by invading Napoleon, who took over the other continent. This was before Brave New World changed the game rules for domination. And while this was on King difficulty, so I'm sure it wasn't all that impressive, but it was one of the most memorable Civ 5 games I've ever done. Out of all my Civ 5 games, in almost 3,000 hours of Civ 5, this is one of the games I remember the most, and it was on King. So, going back to what I said, I haven't uploaded a lot of the things I played, not just on Twitch, but like actual things I recorded in my own time, and I ended up never uploading them. And it's because I was still learning new games. And apparently there's a group of people, I don't know how large, who don't want to see that. Which in turn means there are games I would literally never play on YouTube in my entire life, because there are lots of games out there that you only play through once, maybe twice. They don't have the replayability or the longevity of XCOM or Civ, and you know, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong playing through a game once. You enjoyed it, you move on to another game. But literally nothing wrong with that. But you're never going to be an expert in that game unless you decide to replay it 10 times. And there's also nothing wrong with people who do that. But personally, I'm only going to do that with a select few games like XCOM or Civ, for example. And there are also plenty of games where I don't care about playing on the highest difficulty. But I still enjoy those games and I enjoy failing at them. A great example of one such game is RimWorld. That's a perfect example. I always enjoyed RimWorld. I always want to play more RimWorld. But I have absolutely no desire to min-max the highest difficulty in it. Zero desire to do that. I'm never going to do that. But I still enjoy the game. So if people don't want to see that on YouTube, then that means there's a very large pool of games I can basically never do on YouTube, ever. Because it's a completely impossible to meet standard. It's literally impossible to be like an expert or even close to it at every single game you ever play. Anyone who claims they are is full of shit, quite frankly. But see, going back to streaming, when I'm streaming on Twitch, I don't really care about any of this. I do, like I said earlier, whatever the fuck I want, and so far I've not really had any complaints about it there. Maybe like some one odd person in 3 months, but I can't really think about any major complaints I had about it in chat. On YouTube, it's very different. I get constant complaints on YouTube. Even like the most recent Humankind stuff I've been uploading. This was a stream from Twitch. I really enjoyed that game. I thought it was one of the more interesting ones out of all the games I've done. But I did have complaints about it here on YouTube that never popped up while I was playing it on Twitch. I think one major reason why live stream chat is different, and I'm sure it will be the same on YouTube live stream as well. So one major reason is the lack of hindsight. Because when you're watching a live stream, you don't know what's going to happen an hour from now, unless you're a time traveler. You just don't know. You don't know whether a decision or something I'm doing in-game right now will or will not have an impact on something that happens an hour later. You just don't know. When you're watching a YouTube video of something that was recorded in the past, you can latch on to that one thing that had an impact an hour later and complain about that. And that's what a lot of people do in YouTube comments. So the nature of live streaming means there aren't nearly as many hindsight generals as there are in video comments. Sure, sometimes someone brings it up an hour later, but nobody cares by then. Something else is happening. Usually, nobody cares about something that happened 2 hours ago on a live stream. Again, most of the time. But on YouTube, a lot of the time, I upload, let's say, a 30-minute video of all kinds of interesting things happening, and let's say 1/3 of all the comments under that video are about something extremely irrelevant that maybe I missed for all of 5 seconds. You know, this is something that happened a lot in my Civilization 5 games back in the day, because, for example, early on, I would miss that one extra pop growth for one turn and only assign them to an optimal job 1 or 2 turns later, and 1/3 of the comments under that video would be about that, even though it's literally irrelevant. But a lot of the people in the comments would then act like it ruins the entire Civilization 5 forever. You should uninstall, never play Civ 5 again. Obviously, I'm hyperbolizing a little bit here, but you get the idea. And last but not least, this isn't something I really ever mentioned, and I'm not officially diagnosed with anything, but I've always had major difficulties focusing on things. Since always, basically, since I was in elementary school. So that's why a lot of my gameplay tends to be, fast and hectic a lot of the time. And I just can't fucking help it, alright? Pardon my French again. And I can sometimes focus on something really hard, but it's not easy. And I can't just sit down and do it at a snap of a finger, you know? I just can't. It's not something I can do. That's just a fact of life. That's how it is. That's how it's going to be. And yeah, I mean, fast-paced gameplay does mean I tend to miss things. But if whatever is currently happening on screen is entertaining, then who really cares? Who actually cares? And again, going back to streaming and Twitch, I haven't really had any major complaints about that in chat. And people who did point it out sometimes were usually just trying to be helpful, because there's a major difference between friendly, helpful advice and the worst kind of backseating, where somebody's goal is to just put the other person down. And I don't mind the former. In fact, I enjoy and welcome the former. So speaking of which, big shout out to their Ava, who has been very helpful during my Long War of the Chosen streams, and also on Discord. If you guys want to see some more Long War of the Chosen, you should check him out, both on Twitch and on YouTube. That's DERAVA. So anyway, we are now 14 minutes in, so what's my point here? I think my biggest point is that I desperately needed to go back to doing whatever the fuck I want to do. Again, pardon my French. And this is what I've been doing on Twitch for the past few months, really. It's not just the last 5 days. It's just that in the last 5 days, I streamed more in that time window than ever before. 45 hours in 5 days. But I've been enjoying it for months now. I did quite a lot of The Last Spell. That was a very fun game. I played it quite a bit on Twitch. And here's another thing I forgot to mention. I'm not a fast learner, at least compared to a lot of people I've seen. I'm a fairly slow learner, but once I do learn, I tend to be pretty good at things. At least when it comes to strategy games. It just takes me some time to get there, you know? So the fact there's a vocal minority on YouTube who doesn't want to see that made it really frustrating for me over the years, because that kind of really limited what I can do. And if you do watch my Twitch VODs, or maybe if you watched my streams live, yeah, I got frustrated at some things here and there. But I mean, I think everyone does at some point or another. However, overall, I haven't streamed anything I don't actually enjoy playing, or anything I didn't want to at least check out. Oh, and by the way, another thing on YouTube that's been doing my head in for the past several years is the whole rivalry between Civ 5 and Civ 6 and now maybe Humankind. Because when I do Civ 6, people complain that I'm not doing Civ 5, or that they hate Civ 6. When I do Civ 5, people complain that it's an old irrelevant game and I should do Civ 6 instead. When I do Humankind, people complain that it's not Solization. Like, there's no way to quote-unquote win. And I don't want to take sides here, I enjoy all of them, alright? I like Civ 5, I like Civ 6, I like Humankind, like freaking sue me, alright? For me, franchise wars or sequel wars are the worst part of online communities. Basically the same way console wars were always really stupid from my point of view. And by the way, one more thing about playing various games at a certain level. I never even claimed to be like an expert in Civ or XCOM. I'm literally just a dude who plays them a lot, alright? That's literally all I am. I never aspired or pretended or wanted to be some kind of expert at Civ or XCOM. There are plenty of people out there who are better than me at both. And that's fine, you know, that's fine. So, okay, before this video becomes way too long, there's one specific thing from practical point of view that I wanted to mention. I've been talking with an editor recently, two of them in fact, and they agreed to edit some things for me at a reasonable rate that I can actually afford. So what I might start doing more is upload edited versions of some of my streams. Keep in mind, it's still not cheap for me to do, so I need to like at least break even on it on YouTube. Otherwise, it won't really make any sense. And my channel has obviously been struggling for a pretty long time now. But a good recent example of it, and kind of a test run really, is the Humankind game I'm currently uploading. That has been edited, and I've actually seen several comments, both here and on Discord, that the edits aren't really that noticeable. But trust me, a lot of the dead air, a lot of the like talking with chat, has been edited out to make the gameplay more smooth. I think in total there are like hours that have been edited out of both the streams, because that game took a total of 2 streams. So I might end up doing that more. I might upload some of the stuff edited by myself. It kind of really depends on the nature of the game. So next week, for example, Darkest Dungeon 2 will be entering early access, and my plan with that is to stream it on Twitch. So by the way, if you don't follow me on Twitch, but you are interested and would like to, there's a link in the video description. So my plan with that is to stream it on Twitch, and then upload it maybe with some edits here to YouTube. Now the main question is how many streams I want to do that with. And I suppose this is where all of you come in. I could really use some feedback on that. And I could especially use feedback from people who don't normally comment. because I really want to hear from more than just the vocal minority in YouTube comments. So if you don't normally comment, but you're watching and listening to this, please don't let me know some of your thoughts, either in YouTube comments here or on my Discord. On my Discord is also great. A very good example is my current XCOM 2 Long War of the Chosen campaign. My plan was to wrap up the one I'm playing currently, because, like I already said, I've done a lot of things wrong because I'm just learning. Long War of the Chosen, I didn't know about a lot of the mechanics. I'm still learning new mechanics, literally every time I do a new stream. So my current campaign is probably doomed, or at the very least, it's going to be very challenging to salvage. I probably can't salvage it. But I already know what I'll be doing differently in my next one. So I was planning to only start uploading the next one. And I mean, I already have some past examples where I did have XCOM 1 and XCOM 2 campaigns that failed here on YouTube, and I had so many complaints about that. I had so many complaints, and a lot of like really aggressive comments back when that happened. And this is despite the fact I still enjoyed those games. And sure, I wasn't exactly happy with how they ended, but I wasn't mad or anything like that. And in the specific cases I'm referring to, I knew exactly what went wrong. This is basically the same case with my current Long War of the Chosen game on Twitch. I know exactly what went wrong, and I know exactly what to do differently next time. I mean, that's literally how you learn. And I always enjoyed the process. Nobody is instantly an expert on something they only just started playing. And Long War of the Chosen has a lot of mechanics that are completely different compared to XCOM 2. In fact, part of the difficulty of Long War of the Chosen is that you really have to throw some of the vanilla XCOM 2 logic out of the window when you're playing it. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for this video, because we're at 22 minutes. I hope it answered a lot of the questions I've been getting recently. I just wanted to make an honest video talking about how I currently feel about YouTube, Twitch, videos, live streams, all that stuff. And before I really wrap it up, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to all of you who are still here after all these years, because like I said at the start, it has now been over 10 years since I started this channel. So that's been a very long 10 years. Hopefully it's going to be another 10, despite some of the drawbacks lately. But I really appreciate the support from all those of you who are still here and who still enjoy what I do. Like, you are the reason why I do it. I wouldn't be able to do it without you. So, big shout out to all of you. I really appreciate it. And I just really can't thank you all enough. So, thanks again, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.